a closet walled cities, past lives in boxes. Music absorbed till it seeped from my skin. Can't stand to hear it. Means more to me than photographs. Pictures of backyard and northern sunsets are all that exist in my mind. Freshly cut lines and daytime sprinklers, spider webs on a gray wooden fence. I remember the comedian.
Good morning, I'm back on the grand tour. We're at Milecastle House, which is that house there. There's a lay-by where you can park for free nearby, hence the reason why we parked here. There used to be a Roman camp just on the other side of the house, which is where Steingate Road used to go by. And it's called Milecastle House because there's a milestone, Newcastle, 34 miles in that direction.
I didn't know that.
It's quite a foggy day. Said it was going to be cloudy, didn't realise it meant that it was going to be in the cloud. But never mind. It said it was going to rain all day yesterday and it was blue skies. So this, we're busy walking along, is the military road. It was created by General Wade using stone from Hadrian's Wall, which is why large parts of the wall are missing. So we are literally walking on the wall. I mentioned General Wade on the last part of the grand tour, and the reason why he built this road was because of the Jacobites. He built the road so that there was easy access between Newcastle and Carlisle. So if the Jacobites laid siege to Newcastle or they laid siege to Carlisle, it was easy for the garrison of one to come and help the garrison of the other. So because we didn't get to do the Mare and Foal at the end of the last section, we're doing it now.
It's got a face, it looks like it's an island a little bit. Well, kind of.
So this is the mare, the biggest one. It's about chest height on me and I'm 6'1". And this is the foal. This is obviously considerably smaller. It's just above my thighs. They're about 3,000 years old. They were here long before the Roman wall was built. There's a bit of argument whether there was originally 4 stones here or whether there was 15. I've no idea which is the correct answer to that. But according to the Armstrong map in the 18th century, there used to be 3 stones standing here, now there's only 2. Neil's kind of going for 15.
You can't make a circle with 4. Square.
So there you have it. So Neil wants to know why we're going in the opposite direction to Hadrian's Wall.
Yeah.
You thinks we're being conned.
Well, yeah, I came out expecting to see the wall today. And he's ripped me off again.
We're actually going to a Roman site, but one which was much, not that much older actually. Maybe about 45 years older.
You think on the grand tour though you'd follow the wall, wouldn't you? I mean, that's what you'd think.
This place is better than the wall. I was just saying there to Neil, we've actually walked all the way along here.
That's good on the grand tour because you can see what you've done. You know, it's quite rewarding really when you look at what you've walked over.
This is a model of the site where we are at the moment. And welcome to Vindolanda. This is the site I told you about.
It is, very much so. It means white field or something or other.
White moor.
White moor or white field. Well done. I told him that.
The site was a Roman fort, and it had a township adjacent to it as well. The first fort was built sometime around 80 AD to protect the road known as Staingate. If you remember, I walked on Staingate at the Roman town in Corbridge on section 2 of the trail. The first fort housed the first cohort of Footbridge from what is now modern day Belgium. The second fort was built on top of the first around 90 to 92 AD and was larger than the first. It housed the ninth cohort of Batavians from what is now modern day Netherlands. At some point a third fort was constructed on top of the second of similar size, but this was abandoned in a hurry around 102 AD. The soldiers were probably transferred to the Danube. Fourth fort was built to house the first cohort of Tungrians once more. This fort remained in use until after 112 AD. But this was eventually replaced by a fifth fort that may have housed the Emperor Hadrian's retinue when he came in 122 AD, the year they started building the wall. There you go, Neil.
Well done, thank you.
This here used to be the pub.
Better go in then, shall we?
Told you you couldn't pass a pub. In the heart of the fort was the headquarters building. You can see the underground heating system they had. The fort was occupied until the early 5th century, but the supporting civil settlement was abandoned before 270 AD. For a computer-generated tour of Vindolanda, check out Story Past Productions. I'll put a link below to his channel. It's very, very good. This here is a replica shrine to the water nymphs. This here is a Roman milestone from Staingate Road. The distance is from where the road began, which was at Corbridge. And the road continued as far as Carlisle and the Cumbrian coast. The ground at Vindolanda is very good at preserving organic material, and they've uncovered many items including clothing, examples of carpentry and even a wig. Old brooches and bits of jewellery. Rings. Here's Roman glass. That one there is painted with scenes from gladiators. There's the wig that they found. It's very well preserved, isn't it? Amazing. These are all hairpins and combs. It's almost like a bit of lace there. However, the site is most famous for uncovering a collection of wooden postcard-sized documents. letters from soldiers, commanders, and their wives.
Ancient histories of the Roman invasion of Britain mention only a few generals and governors. Now, written in their own hand, came the names and origins of some 600 Romans at Vindolanda.
Virtually everybody, as far as we can tell, in that early period up here are literate.
The Burleys unearthed a fragment of Virgil's epic poem, the Aeneid, written in a child's hand.
The odd, really rare...
When they saw the translation, they were astonished to find something more than just a Latin lesson.
The normal capital, inter ea pavidam volitens spinata, then it should have said per urbem. Then someone in totally different handwriting. You see here, S-E-G, short for segnita. Sloppy work. And he's done pretty well, poor chap, but then he's gone wrong, and no doubt he got a crack over the head from the teacher who wrote sloppy on it.
The bronze hand is from the Middle Eastern god Jupiter Dolichinis, a Syrian version of the Roman god Jupiter. The temple that once housed the god was built after the invasion of Caledonia in 209-210 AD, possibly as thanks for surviving the campaign. The invasion consisted of 50,000 men with the instructions to wipe out the Caledonians, a complete genocide of what's now Scotland. The invasion was made on the pretext that a peace treaty between Rome and the native chieftains had been breached by the Caledonians and the Miati tribes. The invasion must have been brutal because Rome was unable to hold on to the territory or complete the conquest and had to return to the wall. However, the Caledonian losses were substantial enough to allow the rise of the Picts. This here is a replica section of Hadrian's wall we found at Vindolanda. I'll go and stand on the wall so you get an idea of scale. There's a thatched roof. You don't see them very often in the north of England. It's usually stone that we use. As we leave Vindolanda, we're walking along the route of Staingate Road, and we come across this old Roman milestone, or the remains of one. It would have been much higher originally, like a column. We saw one before in Vindolanda. Behind me is the Sill National Landscape Discovery Centre and Youth Hostel. Landscape is a conversation. Let's get talking. The purpose of the centre is to help people engage with the landscape and countryside once more. At the start of the project, the motto was "Come for the wall, come back for the landscape." The building is designed to fit in with the landscape and is inspired by the great windsill on which Hadrian's Wall sits on top. It replaced the old visitor centre that once was here. I was involved in the creation of this idea when I was a member of Northumberland National Park. We went around various visitor attractions looking for inspiration for building the Sill. The Sill is located at Once Brood. However, the pub nearby is called the Twice Brood. Special Valentine menu, £26 per person, including wine. So if you come by yourself, do you get a free bottle of wine? Legend has it that Yorkist soldiers staying here before the Battle of Hexham complained that the beer was too weak and demanded that it be brewed again stronger, hence the reason Twice Brood. We covered the Battle of Hexham in section 3 of the trail. A more likely explanation is that they were just advertising the increased strength of their beer. The pub brews its own beer and offers food and accommodation. Very nice as well. So we're just about to leave the pub and it's hailstone outside, so we're going to give it a bit. Historic site. On this day, 14th of January 1863, absolutely nothing happened. Twice brewed in. Over there's a huge snowstorm, like blizzards. It's kind of weird where we are. We're like just on the edge of the cloud and blue sky. There's another big front over there, like. So we're kind of fortunate, touch wood. So we're back on Hadrian's Wall again. I have to head up those crags there now. It's quite a steep climb, this one, but the steps provided. We're walking right on the edge of a weather front. It's quite cool, really. Not only do we have the Roman frontier with Hadrian's Wall, but over there we've got snow over there, another band of snow there, another band of snow there. That looks really bad over there. There's another band of snow over there, and then on this side of the wall, blue skies. It's quite amazing. The path's very muddy here. It's probably the most popular section of Hadrian's Wall, so it gets lots and lots of tourists every day. Here part of the wall is collapsed, so Neil is going to find out how much one of these stones actually weighs.
And rebuild the wall. Start off with a smaller one. I reckon that's like 10 kilograms maybe. And one of these big boys. Whoa! Yeah, 20 or 30.
So the big stones 20 to 30 kilos, the little ones about 10 kilos.
How many times a day, soldier?
Having to do that every single day until it's built. How long did it take to build? 6 years.
And the people weren't right next to the wall either, were they? They're probably like half a mile down the road.
Albeit there was quite a few thousand of them doing it, like. This is Milecastle 39. I nearly called our hiking group after this castle. The 39 Ramblers. But it didn't stick. And the reason why this castle is special is because its other name is Castle Nick. Nick's Castle. So Milecastle 39, also known as Castle Nick, was once occupied until the late 4th century and sat between two turrets on the top of these hills, top of that hill and one on top of that hill, that were occupied until the 2nd century. It would have formed a gateway north of the wall, and they would have taxed people coming through the wall to trade in Rome and Britain. A hard border. So here are the remains of the turret. It's actually two remains. There's this one here, and there's one over there, just there. They found a burial in one of them of a man and a woman. I wonder who they could have been. Again, some very steep steps, quite slippy because of the mud. This here is the Sycamore Gap tree, also known as the Robin Hood tree, because it featured in the film Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves with Kevin Costner and Morgan Freeman. So who do you want to play? Neil, do you want to be Kevin Costner or Morgan Freeman?
I'll be Morgan Freeman, please.
Okay, I'll be Kevin Costner. This way to Nottingham, over the wall into Scotland, the opposite direction.
I'm Morgan Freeman, and this here is Sycamore Gap Tree. Morgan Freeman.
The tree won England's Tree of the Year award in 2016 and came 5th out of 16 for European Tree of the Year in 2017. It's one of the most photographed trees in Britain. The tree is said to be several hundred years old, but it wasn't here when they built the wall.
I was going to ask that. It wasn't?
No, it wasn't when they built the wall.
Ah, right.
It was called Sycamore Gap by a member of the National Trust when the Ordnance Survey came here and they were looking for a name for the gap.
Right. What a place for a tree though. Is that a thing? Tree of the Year?
Yeah.
I didn't even know that was a thing.
It's a bit of a hike out of that gap, like. Especially after a pint. Long way down there. Wow. What a place, eh? I'm standing on the edge of the Roman Empire. What a feeling. These crags are called High Shield Crags. Stunning place. Amazing. Neil was just telling me he wouldn't have filmed me if he had known how close I was to the edge.
I do quite like him actually. I don't want to see him dead. Yeah.
Oh man.
Don't get too close. I can't even watch.
There's proper stacks down there. Amazing. All the rocks fracturing. Neil won't even go past that little bit of path. There's the path. Take her right to the edge. Well cool. So hidden underneath this grass is Milecastle 38. So we've just walked a Roman mile from Castle Nick, which was over that way. Section 10 continues that way to Housesteads and beyond. The Pennine Way, incidentally, is down the bottom there and heads that way towards Bellingham. Unfortunately, we have to cut this section short, so we'll have to split section 10 into two parts, 10A and 10B. And unfortunately, 10B has the third legend considering King Arthur, if you watched my previous video. Neil is away tomorrow and he'll be back in the UK sometime, I have no idea when.
Sometimes do.
But he's got a lot on when he comes back, so he won't be able to come back out until the end of March. So we'll have to complete section 10 at the end of March. I know it's a good gap, but I'll be doing other stuff in between, so it'll not be a big problem.
Keep him in suspense for the story. That's what you got to do, isn't it? The King
It
Arthur
is.
story, part 3. You're gonna have to wait till March.
So Neil, what did you think of that section?
Yeah, it was really good. The weather was a lot better this time. We didn't get drenched. We got a little bit snowed on, but we got out of that. I think the snow was over there earlier on. You can see it on the hills. But this was great to see Sycamore Gap, one of my favourite places. Walk along the wall. There's some crazy cliffs along the wall. I don't know if you know, but I'm scared of heights and I was a bit terrified. So it was but it was good to see. And I think it's good to do it in 2 sections, because you can spend more time at Housesteads, and then if you want something to eat in the Sill or the Twice Brewed Inn, it's probably a bit much if you're doing 14 miles in one and including all of them. So I think today's mileage count is about 9 miles,
Yeah, about 9
I think. So yeah, I'd keep it short and then keep you in suspense for the 3rd part of the King Arthur story. I've heard that's the best bit.
Oh, I'm back at the lime kiln. This lime kiln was either late 18th century, early 19th century. It was already disused by the 1867 maps, and it's too small of a detail to be on the Armstrong map. So somewhere around about that time, around about the turn of the 19th century. It's been a good walk. Vindolanda was very interesting. As Neil said, it was probably a good idea to split this in 2 after all, or we would have been doing Housesteads in the dock. In fact, I think Housesteads might be closed now. So if you liked the video, give me a thumbs up. Don't forget to comment below, hit the subscribe button and share with your friends on social media. And the Grand Tour will be back at the end of March, but I'll be out next weekend on my own. So watch out for my next video. And I'll catch you on the next one.
Digging through a closet, walled cities, past lives in boxes.